Today we will talk about the best products that help cleanse blood vessels. We're going to talk about atherosclerotic plaques. This is new and quite interesting information that will probably surprise you, and maybe even change your view of health. This knowledge can help fight many disorders in the body, and given that heart attacks are one of the leading causes of death, I'm sure you'll be glad you learned this. I want to tell you about an interesting study that was conducted on sterile mice. These are often the animals used for experiments. What does sterile mean? These are animals that are raised in completely isolated conditions, without any microorganisms on their skin or inside their bodies. They are used to study the effects of exclusively internal factors without the participation of microflora. But then the question arises, can such sterile creatures survive? Theoretically, yes. But in practice, their condition is far from ideal. They need much more nutrients to survive, as there are no microbes that help in the absorption of food. Such mice often have growth retardation, underdevelopment of the heart and lungs, their liver is smaller, and their cardiac output is lower. That is, the heart works worse, the intestinal walls are thinner, the digestive system is weaker, and the immune system is not fully formed. Sterile mice show many signs of inflammation. They even show atrophy of the lymph nodes, but otherwise their health seems to be stable. And here the question arises, how does all this relate to your blood vessels? Scientific studies show that sterility in mice, that is, the complete absence of microflora, has a significant impact on the condition of their blood vessels. A link has been found between dysbiosis and the development of vascular diseases. The results of such studies are striking in their clarity. When intestinal microorganisms are artificially destroyed in mice, i.e., made sterile, the level of inflammation increases dramatically throughout the body, including in the blood vessels. And inflammation is a trigger that launches a whole cascade of changes leading to the formation of atherosclerotic plaques. This is how a vicious circle is formed. It is interesting that some people still believe that human blood is absolutely sterile, i.e., it does not contain any microorganisms. But this is no longer true. Scientific evidence shows that microorganisms are indeed present in our blood. Moreover, certain pathogens are found directly inside atherosclerotic plaques in blood vessels. Yes, it is pathogens. We are talking in particular about such microorganisms as chlamydia, Helicobacter pylori, staphylococcus. They are found inside the plaques themselves. But that's not all. Other types of microbes can be found in the vessels. Think about it. In our body, trillions of microbes live in the intestines, on the skin, and in the mouth. So why shouldn't they be in other organs? In fact, they are there. And it seems that the imbalance of this microbial ecosystem can cause serious problems with the cardiovascular system. There is one more important factor I want to talk about. It is an extremely valuable nutrient, a vitamin that plays a key role in preventing calcium deposition in blood vessels. After all, an atherosclerotic plaque is nothing more than an accumulation of calcium and cholesterol caused by inflammation. This vitamin may already be familiar to you. It is vitamin K2. Its main function is to remove calcium from the blood vessels and send it back to the bones. When the body lacks vitamin K2, calcium begins to accumulate in the blood vessels, which leads to their calcification. That is why I emphasize the importance of K2. Now imagine who produces this vitamin in our bodies. It is created by microorganisms living in our intestines. They convert vitamin K1, which we get from leafy greens, into the active form, K2. Vitamin K2 is also found in fermented foods because it is the bacteria involved in fermentation that synthesize it. Most of all, K2 is found in fatty fermented foods, such as hard and fatty cheeses. The fatter the cheese, the more K2 it contains. It is also found in fatty meats, such as salmon and salami, which is also a fermented product. Types of sausages, especially pork and fatty ones, the amount of vitamin K2 can be 5 times higher than in other sausages. Even some types of sausages and bacon can contain K2. Don't forget about sauerkraut, which is also high in this vitamin. Yogurts are another source of K2, and here a paradox arises. Official medicine advises avoiding saturated fats and cholesterol to prevent plaque formation. These undesirable foods contain vitamin K2, which in fact helps to avoid calcium deposits in the blood vessels. There is an excellent analysis that allows you to assess the degree of calcification of the coronary arteries. This is one of the best indicators that can predict the risk of a heart attack. It involves measuring the amount of calcium in the vessels. This test is not too expensive and is available to many. Having done it, you will get a clear picture of the condition of your arteries. If you decide to take vitamin K2 as a supplement, it works most effectively when paired with vitamin D3. The optimal ratio is as follows: 10,000 IU of vitamin D3 for every 100 micrograms of K2. But first of all, it is important to know one more thing. Probiotics have an atheroprotective effect. They help protect blood vessels from calcification, reduce plaque formation, and prevent hardening of the arteries. Our natural probiotics are beneficial bacteria in the intestines. They feed on fiber from vegetables and in the process produce beneficial byproducts, such as short-chain fatty acids. This is essentially a special form of fat that helps lower insulin levels and normalize blood sugar. This in turn reduces inflammation in the blood vessels. So the main idea of this video is this: look at your diet in terms of the presence of microorganisms in it. Are you eating too sterile? I'm talking about foods from which all living things have been removed, such as pasteurized milk, juices, long-term storage products, canned food, and food that is irradiated to increase its shelf life. Just go to a supermarket and look at the shelves. Most products are sterilized, thermally or chemically processed. We constantly overheat and overcook our food, destroying everything useful, including microbes. We consume less and less raw food. In addition, we eat meat from animals that have been given antibiotics during the growing process. And one of the most negative side effects of antibiotics is dysbiosis. Antibiotics not only destroy pathogens, but also wash out the beneficial microflora. As a result, only the most resistant microbes survive, which often become even more dangerous, causing new problems, including inflammation. Does eating meat from such animals affect us? Most likely, yes. Instead, eating raw, natural food supports a healthy microflora and protects our blood vessels. I'm talking about plants, such as microgreens grown in soil or ordinary vegetables from your garden. Such raw plants contain a large number of microorganisms that you consume with your food. They can be considered natural probiotics. Anyone who truly understands this principle will begin to regularly include fermented foods in their diet. And there are many such products available today. Fermented vegetables, for example, are a great source of beneficial bacteria. Not only do you replenish your intestinal microflora with new microorganisms, but you also facilitate the digestion process. As such, food is already partially pre-digested by the bacteria themselves. And the weaker your digestive system is, the more benefit you will get from such foods. Now let's get back to the main topic. What foods really benefit blood vessels? And you probably wouldn't have guessed what I'm about to say, given the recommendations of official medicine regarding cardiovascular disease. We are talking about fatty cheese, that's right, the fattest, in combination with fatty pork sausage. And of course with sauerkraut, a product that can still be approved by medical recommendations, unlike the first two. But think about what you get when you eat these three foods together. First, they all contain large amounts of vitamin K2. Secondly, they are all fermented, which means that bacteria have already worked on these foods, increasing the bioavailability of nutrients. Such food is much easier to digest. In addition, all of these products are non-sterile. They contain microorganisms that can be extremely beneficial to your body. The next time you're in the store, look at the products from a new perspective. Think about it. Which ones are sterile? Which ones have been pasteurized or excessively heat-treated? Avoid such products and choose instead more alive ones, those that retain their natural properties, are rich in microflora, fermented or processed naturally. Fermentation is not just a storage method, it is a process that enriches food, improves its nutritional value, and makes it easier to digest. The more of these foods you have in your diet, the better for your health, especially for your blood vessels. Thus, the health of our blood vessels directly depends not only on what we avoid, but also on what we add to our diet. Live fermented foods rich in vitamin K2, probiotics, and natural microorganisms can be a real ally in the prevention of cardiovascular disease. Don't be afraid to reconsider your attitude to fatty foods. Sometimes they are the key to health. Choose foods that nourish not only your body, but also your microflora, because it is one of the main protectors of your blood vessels. Thank you for being with me. Take care of yourself and eat wisely.